bum, bum, ba. Let's see if this is working. I am live. This appears to be working. It is working, isn't it? It is working, isn't it? Yep. Oh, that's working. Sound's working. I can hear all the beautiful tunes, all the things going on. Hello, everyone. Oh. Oh. Let's make sure. I want it to be. Let's see if this is all working. Yeah, the camera. Hello, Wayne. Oh, hope Loki's having a lovely walk. Yeah, that's. I don't want to be moving so much. You're getting head sickness. You're getting what do you call it? Seasickness from movement of the camera. Some people were complaining last time, so hopefully that's better. I put it onto the headroom section. How's everyone doing? How is everyone doing today? I need some iron brew. If I remember correctly, I'm at war with just the French. Okay, so I'm in the habitual British thing. Hello, Jonathan Moon. Just gonna say the quick plug on this channel. If you haven't been over there on my channel, currently I am plugging a whole campaign. Well, not campaign. Whole well, it's a formal campaign, I notice, but a whole competition to win some books. So if you're interested, please do go over there. It's a pretty fun competition, I think. I'm sure a lot of people who watch this channel probably watch my other channel on YouTube, but if you don't, there you go. We are deer hunting. Chest-mounted Camaro. Oh, fun times then. Okay, these were dropped off for me today. They're quite nice. By my aunt, so if you do have Morrison's nearby, I can recommend the mature cheddar cheese crumbles. Quite tasty. I wasn't sure when it first dropped off. I was sort of going, this can go one of two ways. I could be actually doing my first on-air, this is terrible. Or it could be good. It was probably going to be good. It was always had a chance of being good. Alright, that's moving the tonnage around to there. We're moving lots of tonnage around to there. Ooh. The ships are in repair. Okay. Currently repairing 29 ships. 15 of my precious light cruisers are being in repair. That is not good. My light cruisers are precious. Gentlemen, for me it's Carnival. A drunken fest, the parade comes past my flat, and with free cafes and 200 meters, I won't be getting much sleep time. No, you won't. Sleep is just not going to happen. We have the Epsom Derby. Of course, we're in Epsom, but the Derby is a famous racehorse race, and literally one of the main routes up from the train station to the racecourse runs right past my house. And I don't think in all the years I've lived here we've ever had any quiet or any peace over that weekend. Just auto-resolving these battles just quickly. Yes. So we have control Mozambique. Most of Africa. Ooh. Djibouti. Where is... I think all those are in the Caribbean. I'd like to take Djibouti. French Antilles it is. Hello, Leslie. M62 car park. Well, the M62 does occasionally actually move, so it could be one of two things. That could be it's actually solid, or you're actually in one of the service station car parks. In which case, the M62 service station car park from Recruit is actually quite nice. If you're on the M62 and it's not going anywhere, then accident. Oh, well, good luck then. Because there is literally, I'm trying to remember my drive now, there was like one decent service station. There's one decent service station on there. I think there's only one decent service station now on the M62. That's just not good. Now, submarines aren't really that great for tonnage-wise, but they do add something into a force. And with the army attacking southern France, and me invading Western France. And the army also attacking Western Spain. And me keeping Western Spain severely blockaded. Yeah, it's working. Hart said, "Ouch. Parade's arrived. Good luck, Jonathan. Might recommend noise-cancelling headphones." And Italy can mobilise all it wants against me, but basically the only thing which has really exposed Italy... Oh, good lord, the British army really are marching. From Ukraine, they're invading Galicia. From Poland and Germany, they're invading Bohemia. I mean, they just not stop moving. I can already tell them looking at this route that, frankly, I know which route I would prefer to be attacking there from. Come on, task force. Well, this is going to be an interesting fight, because that can do 20 knots, and that can do 32 knots. Certainly smarter than BT. Outsmarted by Jellicoe. Sheer. So this is one of my, honestly not a Leander class, Leanders. I've got 12 torpedoes. If we detect it in any way, shape or form, they're in trouble. I know they're going to be cracking on the speed, but I'm going 31 knots. They can do a maximum 20 knots. They're not going to be getting away from me. It just becomes boring after a while. Let's check on research budget. Armor forging's doing well. Gun layout, torpedo tubes. Control stations are next. Rangefinders. We want to go for an enhanced radar rangefinder. They'll let us have it. And boilers. Oh, good lord. It's a really fertile time for a... And mines are getting improved. Oh, maximum minefield's going up, and we all know how I love a minefield. This is just going to be so much fun. There's so much good stuff coming through at the moment. This is why you always invest in research in this game. This game is all about research. Like most games are. It's also balancing that with the size of your forces, etc. Not getting so obsessed with research you don't actually build anything, but, you know, balance it. So how's everyone doing today? How are you all doing? Are you enjoying life? Other than being on the M62 car park, dealing with a massive parade, and, well, honestly, Wayne, if you're not enjoying life of what you're doing, then I don't know why you'd be doing it. That sounds like... Well, it sounds like a lot of fun, honestly. Oh, let's do the group battle. Let's combine this battle ourselves. George Dewey. Kyoto was good. I'm glad to hear that. Two light cruisers and a destroyer versus 3 light cruisers and 2 torpedo boats and 4 transports. Now, you go off and play fast and loose. You two avoid torpedoes. Also go play fast and loose at this precise time. Oh, you can go really fast. I forgot how I built you guys. No stability at all, but a huge number of torpedoes and some quite ferocious gun armament. Oh yeah. You're not sending a light cruiser to hunt my destroyer. Oh no, you're sending a destroyer to try and hunt my destroyer. That's not necessarily the smartest idea in the book. And we are literally not quite blasting past you at full speed, We're blasting past you at speed most likely to actually cause you severe damage, but we are blasting past you at a rate of knots because behind you is the promised land. Behind you is what we want. We don't care about sinking you here. We are sensible people. We are after your transports. We are after your merchant ships, what you're supposed to be protecting. And what you think this line out is doing, I do not know, but it's not going to protect your transports, is it? There you go. There are your transports. See, that's what we're aiming for. We don't give a flying hoot about you. Hello, Aliel's history. Why do I have to explain this every time to this game? The point of a convoy protection game, a mission, is to protect the convoy. A convoy battle is about destroying these beauties, not the escorts. If you destroy the escorts, that's a great bonus. But what you really want to destroy are these precious gems. And now they have 2 light cruisers charging up on them, basically about to wipe them out. And a destroyer coming behind, basically going, hello, anyone wants to try and chase my bodies, I'm going to put torpedoes in you. Actually, I might be trying to take... Are you trying to take out the enemy light cruiser with your guns? I know I tribal-esque you all, but I didn't expect one of you to actually try it. Can I just ask a small question? Am I being a little bit mean to the computer here, or is it me that it missed the point of this entire mission? No. I do believe over here is an enemy light cruiser. Somewhere over there trailing smoke. Oh, there are 2 pools of smoke. Oh, goody. They've revealed their positions. How kind of them. You are trying to hunt down a destroyer. And to do that, you're using a light cruiser on its own for starters. And you're revealing your position to 2 enemy light cruisers. Did no one teach you basic tenets of strategy? You're more valuable than your target is. You've lost all your transports, which were what you're supposed to be protecting. So at this point, you are the most valuable things left. Preserve yourself and try and do a better job next time. Your ships are useful. Your crews are useful. Your commanders, the commanders of those ships might not be useful. The commanders of those ships actually, frankly, could be got rid of because they just made a terrible strategic decision. But if you'd run at that point, I actually probably could have caught you. But, you know, you can only do 20 knots, but you could still try to run away. As it is, you waited too late. You're in torpedo range. You're in short range. You're in my secondary armament range. Both of you. Oh, what do you think Smoke's going to do at that range? At that range, Smoke is going to do you no help at all. Now you go and sort of look after yourself. And go down a slow speed and just concentrate on fixing yourself up. Oh. There's got to be a better way to make my ships more torpedo-proof. I'm going to have to work on it. Who are you chasing? Are you chasing him? Yeah, so we sunk that one. And you are trying to get into torpedo range. You're not getting into torpedo range. Wiping out the entire enemy is quite fun. Hello, Paul. Hello, Dr. Trevonius. Again, I'm going to ask, how is everyone doing on this fine day? And I do realise that some of you, that's a lousy question. But actually, speaking about Kyoto, and with Steve here as well. That's in Steve. You have, when we were having a discussion on Friday night, you brought up on Discord, you brought up something really interesting for me, which was, I knew it, but I'd never really sort of realised it was quite so common, that doing what we call on a Robin Hood, or splitting an arrow with an arrow, is actually far more common than it's often perceived to be. And I thought, what other parts of archery are more common than they're perceived to be? Because I know with one of the things that often sort of amazes me, with when you're looking at things like the sword fights in movies, there's all these big flowery movements, and real sword fights are not. You don't open yourself up by doing a big flowery movement. You do something far more sensible. You know, you don't do that. And I just sort of, what other things would you sort of think about would be that? And I was literally, so I just realised, Doctor, I'm playing UAD at the moment, heading for a 4th bankruptcy as the French, and I'm only in my 3rd year. 4th bankruptcy, yeah, that's pretty much the path for the course for the French. You were using torpedoes to try and get a destroyer? With Alana Sutri. So I realised the Iron complaints about not having enough cruisers in the 30s were completely founded. I have 30 light and heavy cruisers. I'm just fighting the South Pacific, and I don't have enough. Yep. You need... Honestly, the thing is, UAD tries to do this, doesn't quite get it. But it comes closest of any of the games so far to getting it. War saps up cruisers like... I was once talking with someone who was talking to me about, and we were talking about land warfare, and he was going, yeah, if you want to defend a defensible border, you really want mountains and rivers. But be prepared, that's going to sap up your troop numbers like anything. You're going to never have enough troops to protect all the positions. You're just going to be able to protect the areas where they can actually get larger formations through. But you're going to have tons of leaky space which small forces can get through. And basically, the sea is like that. It's full of leaky spaces because you can get through anywhere. So you just need cruisers everywhere. You need ships which are self-sufficient enough that they can operate in those areas, but also strong enough that they can deal with the they can survive long enough to tell you someone's coming. As in strings breaking. Yeah. Again, this is from my the stuff I know in Sword. The amount of people who don't realise that the shield is a weapon as well. The reason you have the boss, the reason you have the rimmers like you do, is you can use that to really do some damage on someone. You know, the idea of using a shield as a weapon is often forgotten, but it's actually quite a big part of what that shield can do. And someone who's good with shield work can really muck up other people. Because it's very difficult to deal with a shield which is well used. Yes, it's very, very close range. But in that close range, if you use properly, you can do a lot of damage. A lot of damage. All my ships are going to need to be repaired after this, so I'm not really bothered. But I don't think I'm going to lose any ships in this. And the thing is, you're going to lose everything, mate. It's a really bad decision for France. But again, it's operations like this which really show where you lose cruisers. This is pure Force K of Malta scenarios. You're not damaged at all. You're completely unscathed, pretty much. No, you can never have enough. Trade interdiction, trade defense. You can never have enough cruisers. You might have been able to do 34 knots. You could have done 34 knots. You could have got away. You didn't. You're not gonna get away now. With steering damage and that much flooding, there is no way you're pulling in at top speed. You have no torpedoes left. You have only your 1.8 guns. No torpedoes left on my destroyer. You know, this is going to be a long time fight, but it's still going to be a fight that's going to keep happening. And you're in 6-inch gun range, and also that's the other problem for you. My 6-inch guns seriously outrange your 5-inch guns. And you're turning around to ram me now. That's not sensible. Or are you just stuck turning in circles? Oh, you're stuck turning in circles. That's just... Hello, Garson 14. Oh, yes. I know, actually, you have to remember there are 70 cruisers for the entire world. That was 70 N-age cruisers the Royal Navy wanted. They wanted to have some overage cruisers, and they had tribal class destroyers as well. And you must remember, they were trying to get basically after the sort of 1936 treaty went through and Japan was a part of it. They didn't have the cumulative current requirements anymore. They were basically trying to get tribals to be built by Britain. Built 2 flotillas. Then Australia and Canada were going to build a flotilla each. And then the idea was that Britain would then build, well, after they'd operated tribals for a while, they built the next generation tribals, and they built 2 flotillas of those, etc. And honestly, by 1942, you'd have had 4 flotillas of tribals in service and 4 flotillas of tribal successors in service. Yeah. Oh, good lord! You're being circled by all my cruisers. That's just not fair. So that was not a good fight for the French. That was not a good fight for the French. See, you're far nicer than me, Steve. Far nicer than me. It's a torpedo boat. It should just get sunk. Yeah. What else can I do? I can't do anything. I'm invading everywhere of France that I can invade right now by sea. That's just rude. What's our battle between? Oof. Well, it's their light cruisers versus... Oh, good lord, this is not good. That's 8 6-inch guns. That's a Bristol class. That's 8 6-inch guns. That's Bristol class. That's the old one. That's the... Smoked Haddock. Cardiff class. Let's go for this. Let's fight this battle. Awesome. Alright. See, my birthday present has arrived. A 1 to 12 Lego Technic 4 GT. Ooh, I have looked at that in the shops. You lucky, lucky guy. You lucky, lucky gent. Serious. That is a very, very cool thing. So this is my... Oh, I forgot about these. Oh. That's actually quite cute. And it's got, what, 6-inch, 3 6-inch guns? And then this is... yeah, I wouldn't like to be fighting either of these Order French. You're going to have fun with that 4GT, you will do. You can do 33 knots. I forgot, you're faster than the older ones, aren't you? You're not faster. And chat, with the success of Ukraine with drones, do you feel lots of Navy will be testing motherships and dropping them from aircraft, or do you think they're just good in the situation they are and not in practical? I think they... I think what you're talking about is very much a scenario of drones are going to be uncrewed systems are going to be a heavily part of forces in the future. I think there is some scenarios you have going on in Ukraine which make them uniquely effective because I think to an extent they've also been used to take advantage of a lot of the issues Russia has within its own system. I.e., the big trouble for the Russians is not necessarily how do I put this? It's not necessarily their equipment, it's the whole supply chain behind their equipment and the amount of sheer corruption that goes on there. But leaving that all to one side, and leaving that very much to one side, I would say you've also got the fact that with drones and uncrewed systems, they are going to be part of it, but I think you're probably going to find that all ships are going to be used in, rather than... I think you might well have larger ones which operate from an aircraft carrier as part of the air group for a certain long while. But I think what you'll find is instead of necessarily specific drone ships, all ships will have drones. I wouldn't be surprised if your ASW frigate has an ASW helicopter, which is a crewed helicopter, and several which are uncrewed systems to back it up. Because again, that's the easiest way of doing a force modification for a frigate. If you can add on some rotary UAVs which will lift torpedoes if they need to, or other systems to where they need to be dropped if you need them, which will do extra drop sonar buoys, which will deploy dipping sonar. That's your easiest way to maximize your force capability and in terms of one ship, and in maximizing its capability and strength. And I think that's the same with quite a few other vessels. You know, if you consider for destroyers, again, ASW for destroyers, for most of them, especially if you're talking about British, are part of slotting into a task group. Their helicopters, their uncrewed assets, helicopters, any uncrewed assets will provide that. But if you've got a towed array, if you've got uncrewed, basically speedboat style sort of thing that can do a towed array sonar, you can add one of those onto a destroyer if it's going off solo, and suddenly it's got something which you can use for some level of queuing in of those aircraft. So yeah, it's a case of I see them not so much necessarily going to revolutionize in terms of things, because people often try and fit these new technologies going to be revolutionary. It's going to be revolutionary. No, I see them taking up a lot of the issues which we've had within the recent years of generating enough mass. So I see every ship becomes a task group because of its uncrewed assets. If that makes sense. So instead of you basically going, well, that ship's out there solo. Well, yes, but it has a loyal kayak with extra defensive missiles on it. It has one crewed helicopter, yes, or two crewed helicopters. Let's say it's a destroyer, but it has about a dozen uncrewed helicopters, so it can really maintain a round-the-clock presence in the air without on watch without too much difficulty. It's sort of like, again, how's this airborne early warning work? Does it have airborne early warning? Well, one of the troubles we've had, if you consider in the Red Sea, etc., was a lot of the defences, a lot of the best missiles have been designed, and the defence missiles have been designed to have queuing from airborne early warning for the ships to assist them, because again, it's the curvature of the Earth. I know there are flat earthers out there, but it is curved. It is curved. Please don't, just don't get me into that one. It causes so many troubles because it's curved. When it comes to sensors, it's beyond belief. So the thing is, airborne early warning gives you that. And so this is the thing. I see those systems being more slotting in than necessarily slotting in, providing enhancements on existing capabilities than necessarily providing wholly new capabilities. I don't want to end battle. Let's have an accuracy boost. Plus times 10. We're going to be in range of hitting them very shortly. Very shortly. And realistically, the other thing about uncrewed assets they offer you, things like the loyal kayak, etc., is it offers you a system of last resort if you need to. In that you can have on things like loyal kayaks, you could have maybe something which you can flip on from your ship, which turns its radar return up to maximum, and suddenly it's the most attractive target for miles around in terms of heat and size signature, and well, yeah. Then all the enemy systems will target in on that. Having that sort of system for a carrier, around a carrier, that's useful. That is very useful. And if you consider some of the operations you have to do with ships, and some of the things you have to consider when you're thinking about defending a carrier, defending a strategic asset like a carrier, then it becomes really essential. I would also add that I think uncrewed assets, I think the other area they're going to see a massive influence in is in submarines. Because again, because we want to do more and more and more with our submarines, they've grown in size and grown in size and grown in size. And that's made it more difficult for them to do some of the operations which we traditionally associate with submarines. But having uncrewed assets which can support distributed operations from a submarine, again, turns a submarine from being an individual submarine into a flotilla when it's present. So they're going fast, you are. They really are. Where are your torpedo launchers? Do you have deck launchers, or do you have them in fixed positions? You have deck launchers. Okay. That's going to slow you down even more, because that amount of flooding is not good, and you're getting hit. It's going to just cause you more and more trouble. And if you're trying to go full speed... Oh, that's bad. So basically... Oh, this is a tail chase, and that's not good for you. He's got no torpedoes left. I have got torpedoes left, obviously I'm firing them. Oh, that did flash up as saying he had no torpedoes, no ammo left. No torpedo ammo left. And yet he's just managed to shoot one. John Moon, as for underwater launchers, wireless signals, would it be possible to have a partial turret launcher with 3 or 4? You're adding in a lot of complication below the waterline. A, it's going to be complication in your hull operation and hull construction. B, it's going to be complication in terms of maintaining its watertight seal. And C, it's going to be complicated in terms of its actual value. Oh, the trouble is she's left with Sheffield, which is really, really not nice. And they're just torturing him now. And you happily wander along. Oh, why do you do this? Why, game, do you do this? Ships do not have a habit of bashing into each other. It's quite a common thing for them to avoid. And I actually do have it clicked on. Avoid. And AI control for both of them. Although AI control seems to be zigzagging at the moment. Hello, Randall Fun. Hello, Fog of War. See for me. Yeah. Fog of War, I guess, yes. But if this one produces any more torpedoes, I'm going to be seriously annoyed. Luckily, Sheffield does have torpedoes. A lot of torpedoes. I mean, a lot of torpedoes. You're gone. And I think with that, we will end this battle. Gentlemen, how much more bow? How about more bow launchers? Well, again, if you think about it, if you put a bow launcher in, where are you affecting? The bow of the head ship. That's going to be how some of the most impact on its movement through the water. It's also going to be some of the most complicated. And remember again what happens if you get damaged at sea in the bow. How much effort you need to put into keeping yourself afloat because of the strain that puts on the hull. So, Miles, yes. It's basically a case of they are trying to keep it as historically accurate as possible, which does affect things. Caradoc is a Cardiff-class light cruiser. See, gun layout has come through. Right, in control station. That's at 4 months. If I put that on that takes down to a month on boilers and all those. So that frees up all 3 of my research priorities. I'm building 4 battleships at the moment. And then I'm going to need to start rebuilding my battleships, aren't I? All of them to have radar. Upgraded my really old dreadnoughts to having radar. This will be fun. Oh, let's fight this battle. I just see a Nelson class. I always think when you look at this and go, this is a really powerful ship, but just going with the F3 design of having the 9 15-inch 50s, just how much of a history would that change? the frigate you all doing? Okay, I've got to figure out why it does this one at some point. Oh, no. What is this? Is this your idea of... I don't know. There you go. They're the enemy. Why does... I've got to figure out why this game does that, where they're all basically going around in some weird figure of 8 pattern. Because it's really not sensible or realistic. I'm not sure how well the French Navy's currently doing. I seem to keep taking big lumps out of it. Should probably check on its numbers at some point. Oh, good God. Well, that's gone. You might well be a battleship. I'm not sure, frankly, at this range. I don't think you're up to deal with 9 of these. Actually, I don't think you're up to deal with the 3 of these, but, you know, let alone their 6 friends. So this is what happens when you have 12, 15-inch guns. Well, it really annoys me, the circling, because it's the antithesis of what ships would do in actual historical operations. Because they would, first of all, you know, that's basically just praying to be hit by a torpedo. Oh, right. You. Yeah. Damaged Exmouth, but yeah. No ships lost. The Canopus class. Oh, I forgetting this. Do not like the whole pre-dreadnought thing. Because they didn't know dreadnought was coming, so no one was going to call it a pre-dreadnought at the time. They were just battleships. They were just battleships. Pre-dreadnought makes sense maybe from us looking back, but there again, everything's a pre-dreadnought. Oh, I'm going to run this battle. I'm going to run this battle. Lots of 16.5-inch guns in this battle. Oh, yeah. Oh. I forgot Canada is my only 15-inch gun ship in this entire fight. I have something which has 12 15-inch guns, and it's the least powerful battleship of mine here. Why are they fighting this battle against me? Why have they decided to engage me in the Bay of Biscay? I'm going to fight this battle. I'm going to command it. Yeah. This is just... This... At a certain point, this feels like unnecessary cruelty on my part towards the French. And yeah. Oh, good lord. The Blaster Lezo class. So, Canada is by far the fastest ship here, so you're coming out on your own. I'm going to have you doing that. You will follow you. You will screen for them quite happily. Avoid torpedoes, please. You are going to screen for them. And you come with me at maximum speed. Oh, I just want to get through the whole issues. Canada. Oh, Canada. Right then, Canada. You look beautiful. I've just had fun with 3 of your sisters. When anyone looks at me wrongly, that was 3 of her sisters were just fighting in the previous battle. Now let everyone else go the way they're going to go. We know better. We are going to go this way. We're going to keep them at range, and we are going to smatter them. Yes, we are. We are going to keep them at range. I will do this. I want to keep them at range, and I also don't want to lose them. So, basically, my idea is I'm going to use you, my dear Canada, as my method of making sure we do not lose track of the enemy. Reconnaissance by fast battleship is basically what we're doing right now. Oh, only in Ultimate Dreadnoughts, only in this game would I do a reconnaissance by fast battleship. It works. Because I can outpace most, a large number of their ships. And I am literally just going around them. Oh, I am skating through the torpedoes right now. Don't know how I'm doing it. Please note, it is entirely blagging luck. But it is skating. And in return, the French fleet is being absolutely decimated. Canada's providing the targeting information, and everyone else is just blowing them up. It works. You see, Super Dreadnought, though, I agree I don't like it, but it was the term used at the time. But remember, it was the term first used to describe the Orions when they had the 13.5-inch guns, because they're Super Dreadnoughts, because they have these new big guns. And then the Queen Elizabeth. And for some reason, the Queen Elizabeth, the term sticks, and with the Orions, it's sort of forgotten that that was the term used for them. Just 14. Guys, 14. Just see it now on pre-Dreadnought. That's the Galleon Grand Hermain. Still before Dreadnought Age was Captain. Yes, it's all pre-Dreadnought. So, we are investigating a light cruiser. A light cruiser which is technically faster than me. But it's well within my gun range. Well within my gun range. Oh. The trouble is, as long as you're within my gun range, you're also within gun range of my colleagues over there. And have you seen what's coming into you? I'm not saying we're doing reconnaissance by fire, but I'm saying there's just a lot of 16.5-inch shells coming in your way. By the way, if anyone's wondering, this is what Beatty was supposed to be doing at the Battle of Jutland. He was supposed to be using the battle cruisers to feed information so that the battle line, aka that lot over there, could whoop the enemy. Now, there are many methods they were being supposed to be doing for it, but you notice how I'm doing it is the fact that on this automatic system between all these things, because they all have radio and all have the comms, they're able to communicate over quite large distances and work together. The computer, of course, works perfectly, whereas when you have humans involved, you have people like BT, who don't understand when to send a signal, how to order a signal, and also don't appoint a proper sufficient staff with the proper qualifications to do so. And then blame the said staff so that they commit suicide in the most ultimate gaslighting fashion, and to get away with it scot-free. And you still have people to this day who basically blame the staff rather than blaming BT. And you sit there and go, who selected the staff? BT. Then it's not the staff's fault. If you select a person over a candidate such as Somerville, remember that gentleman who served out as quite such a good admiral in World War II and who was the senior communications officer who was recommended to BT by pretty much everyone for the post which he put Seymour into, Sue. If you turn down someone who's an actual qualified communications specialist, radio comms signal specialist, and staff trained for someone who isn't, and then you can't really blame them when they don't get the job right. You're trying to presume that those skills are something which everyone should know. They aren't. There we go. The light cruiser's gone. Entire French fleet sunk. Have I had one glass of iron brew yet, or two? Can you all please tell me if I've had one or two? Because was this my second glass, or did I just finish off my first glass and not refill it? I can't remember. That's bad. That's getting bad. I might drink too much. I might not have drunk enough iron brew for my brain to be working properly today. Oh, that's a tough question. Oh. All I can say, you have not enough. Thank you, Guardsman to 14. Thank you for agreeing with that one. Oh, guess what? I haven't managed to find this in any of my local superstores, and I do realise that the more work I do, the more history stuff, and the more I regress to the age 10 of my, childhood eating and drinking. But I decided to get myself some Nesquik. BT is a noob. John Jellicoe, 1919. I think he said something nastier about BT. Oh. Canada had light damage. I'm sorry, Canada, you had light damage. After doing all that major operation. I need to send 34,500 troops to occupy Silencia. Let's find out where this occupation is supposed to take place. I agree with banana being young. But this is chocolate. I have never had a nice banana milkshake. Never had a nice banana milkshake. I don't know what it is, but I have never had a nice one. Well, it appears to be my Sheffield versus a... I'm going to auto-resolve that because I have faith in Sheffield that she doesn't need my help. Look, no damage to Sheffield, 2 transports sunk, and heavy damage to both the destroyer... Yeah, that's Sheffield on her own. She's called Sheffield for a reason. To quote someone famous, BT, is there no beginning to his talents? Oh, yeah. Am I not supposed to have an invasion going on here? Where is French Guiana and where is Reunion? Reunion is out here, isn't it, somewhere? There's French Guiana. But where is Reunion? It's an island somewhere in the world. I'm going to have to take that island out in the South Indian Ocean at some point. Just because I can. France has control of a lot of Southeast Asia. And I don't like this. I will take this off them at some point, but it's not allowing me to invade them. Which is annoying. I'll probably find out where it is when I eventually have to invade it, but you know. I have a 47% chance of succeeding. I've got 15 ships in repair. And let's go to politics of all the powers be. France is down to a active fleet of 235 ships. Not quite sure how they've got that many remaining. Japan has a fleet of 22 ships, so I'm not really bothered about them. America has a fleet of 540 ships. That's problematic. Merely Dave invested in battle cruisers, and I've gone straight past those to fast battleships. Well, I know... Look. I know Reunion is in the Indian Ocean. But where is it on this map in the Indian Ocean? Oh, it's there, isn't it? Oh, sorry. I managed to go past it, didn't I? There it is. I'm going to invade Reunion. I've got a fleet now. Sometimes where I look for the things on the map, I don't see them. Where they're supposed to be in my mind. In my mind, Reunion is supposed to be about a little bit further this way and a little bit more south. So hence I was looking down here and going, well, that's not Reunion. So if that's not Reunion, where is Reunion? And of course, Reunion is next to Madagascar. And here's one. Actually, on that subject... There again, I'm a historian and can't spell, so in the nicest way, it's, you know, it's all of us are in the same boat. Steve. It's just look. It's just like old times. Send some frigates and steal the French colonies. Yes, that was my entire war strategy. Although I appear to have conquered France as well. There are worse things to find yourself having done. At least, let's be honest, if the capital of France is in Britain, it's very unlikely for the farmers to be able to get their tractors all the way to block it up. Okay, let's run this battle. This is going to be an interesting one. 15 inch, 15 inch. They're all quite fast. They're faster than battlecruisers. And a lot more. This is going to hurt me. In ways which they cannot imagine. Let's do this. Belt extended armor is the extension of belt armor on the bow and the stern. It does not have to be as thick as the belt, because main projectiles that strike from front or rear are more easily deflected due to the angle of the impact. Also, usually that's also outside the area of Citadel area you need to stay afloat. But we'll leave that to one side. How's the house purchasing progressing? Well, people keep promising me stuff, so I promise other people stuff, and then those people don't deliver, and I'm stuck in the middle. So that's how it's going, Paul. It's not fun. Inner planet. Well, is that true? It's one of those things which is true in theory. So, okay, you are going to be the center. Right, let's see what happens with this. And I think we want to go this into abreast and into that formation. With 19 inches of armor in some places, there is no way those battle cruisers are actually penetrating anything. Yeah, this is gonna be a melee fight. This is gonna be a melee fight of some kind. They are a hot mess of forces of various formations. A lot of torpedoes were expended in that fight to try and get those losses on me. Let's see if we can't eke them back. I haven't lost as many as I worried I was going to lose in that sort of closing action, but I wanted to get down the range and I wanted to eke out their torpedo boats, especially just torpedoes. Will you turn, Magnificent? Turn! Oh, took you long enough. Oh, Paul, that I am very interested in that. I'm always interested in Churchill's history books because the thing about Churchill's history books is the great thing about them is they're their first really good example of a modern political history book, which is written with the idea of not just some good accuracy of history, but also in what it says and what it doesn't say tells you a lot about the politics and the views of one of the very important politicians of their period. Will you? What the friggin' is wrong with you? I'm giving you instructions and you're not doing them. I wanted you to be going parallel to them, not charging towards them or charging... Hey. That's better. Get out of the 1.8 and the 4.1 inch range. And preferably the torpedo range if you can. You can probably do that. Okay, so these ships are proving less happy to handle than the other ones earlier. Wonder what the problem is with them. Wonder why it's not working. And up you go. Ay, caramba. See, look. I click, and it's not doing anything. It's not even doing its auto control, so I have no idea what it's doing. Is it a mouse that's an issue? No, the mouse appears to be working fine. I can click outside to find, so it's... I'm not sure what's happening in this and that moment, but it's obviously it's not allowing me to control it. Make it follow a destroyer. That'd be tempting. That is tempting. But I am tempted to do this, this, this. Just let them all go off on AI and stop it trying to coordinate massive fleet operations. And let's see what happens. bash into each other, apparently. That's what's going to happen. Let's see what the AI does. And it is a very rudimentary AI, but it is an AI. Still can't believe they have singles mounted on their ship. They have 3 twins and 2 singles. I can realise they're dealing with a lot of issues here, but that's just a massive issue. Honestly, the 15-inch guns here should be making absolute mincemeat of these battle cruisers charging in to fight the battleships at close range. Again, why are you doing this nutty stuff with... Okay, that's probably not long for this world. If they've lost one of their battle cruisers, that's going to change things dramatically. Yeah, that's gone. So, Leon Minor is your last remaining battle cruiser. Let's take it out. I'm getting to better build class of battleships. Because obviously these fast battleships are not up to snuff or something. Something's a problem with them. Did I use fancy maneuvering gear? What kind of problems built into their construction? Notice how I'm actually presuming that the problem is with their construction, not the game. It was the game which wasn't responding, but I'm presuming it's because maybe I've given them some lousy steering gear or something like that. That can't deal with their actual speed and their operation at speed. Did I not put click the right button? Orlando's gone. I haven't got many heavy cruisers. I should probably build some more at some point. Sort of next refit. Yes, pretty much. Next refit for this class is going to be pretty massive. It's going to have to be pretty massive. think also another class of light cruiser in order. Mainly just to make up for losses. Take the best design I have and ramp it up as much as I can with all the latest tech. How you are still surviving, I do not know. You're a battle cruiser. You're in that range of those ships. Those ships are pretty much armed with some of the best fire control solutions I should have. And they're not hitting you. They are managing 1 in 100 shots on cruisers maneuvering at long range, and yet they're not hitting you. Okay, something is up with that design. I have seriously mucked up somewhere in their design. I think they are Lion class, are they? It's angle which is preventing them from... Oh, no wonder they can't hit you. They're all pacing away from you for some reason. Accuracy is still terrible for those ships. Absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. Especially compared to my other battleships. So, I have really mucked up that design, haven't I? Honestly, I have massively mucked up my design. They've got 4 destroyers, I think. 5 destroyers. And 4 light cruisers, 1 heavy cruiser, and 1 battle cruiser left. And that battle cruiser is doing a one-way fight with 3 battleships at the moment. And whilst those battleships is proving interesting, they are battleships. They do have 19 inches of armor. They can weather a lot more damage than she can. They displace about 3 times a ton, well, 4 times a ton almost. This one doesn't even displace 20,000 tons. Those are 72,000 ton monsters. This is no ammo left. Honestly, this is the point at which you send in the destroyer to do the coup de grace. Or coup de main. Or just, as we sometimes call it, finishing blow. But I'm not going to do that, because that would have to withdraw my destroyers from that fight over there, which is a running nutty fight going on between destroyers, light cruisers, and everything that's tearing into the French and keeping the French light cruisers and light forces busy. Let's go see what are they doing. They all appear to be having... On AI fun, they are having AI fun, and they are causing AI fun. He has pulled away a destroyer and a light cruiser to try and save his battle cruiser. But you are gone. You are gone. I don't know. It's fun times. Ouch. Come on. Take her out. And then that's both the French battlecruisers gone. Well, there's something wrong with our ships, but they're not sinking, so I'm okay with that. They are hopefully fixable. Hopefully, he says fixable. And actually, he's gone. Yep. And I haven't lost too many ships. I've lost some of my ships. All my destroyer groups had 3 in them. Orlando's not sunk, which amazes me. I've got all my light cruisers still alive. I have lost 4 destroyers. So I've lost 4 destroyers, but I've sunk more than 4 destroyers and a whole load of 2 battle cruisers, some light cruisers, and I'm still sinking ships. So yeah. And that is not a good scenario for the remaining French forces to be in, because they've literally managed to get themselves a scenario where there are British ships, British ships, British ships, British ships, and French ships are all in the sort of middle, and that's not a good scenario to be in this kind of fight, because it's not foggy enough, they can't put up enough smoke, they don't have the chances to try and avoid. Yes, there is a difference. They are not exploding due to my own incompetence in terms of management of them. They're exploding due to my incompetence in terms of... Well, they're not even exploding due to my incompetence of design of them. They're just not performing as my other battleships all do in similar scenarios. So, somehow I have managed to muck up the balance in these ships. And I will go and have a good look at them and work out where I mucked up. And that's one of the reasons why I don't do always auto fights. I like, you know, sometimes I do an auto fight just because it saves time, and I realise that, you know, there's a lot of other things going on with the game, and it can go massively long if you do all the fights. But there's also a case of doing the fights tells you where your own designs are, what their issues are. And I'm quite an aggressive commander, I do realise that. I really am an aggressive commander when I'm commanding these ships. I know where my skill set lies and what kind of style of operation. There's a reason I build the ships the way I do. My destroyers are slightly gun heavy. My cruisers I tend to focus more on light cruisers than heavy cruisers and those sort of things. I do realise that. And I like the all-forward gun arrangement, so I do have to sort of design for that to an extent. But I try and build them balanced enough ships so they can do all those operations. And there are some destroyers come back to assist these. So if they try to do too nasty attack with destroyers, they will get mullered. There's actually a sort of gap in this area. If I was them, I'd be heading towards that gap with every effort I could, because it's the only way I can save my life. And my ship's life. And at a certain point, that's what you do as a commanding officer. You go, right then, this battle is lost. We are absolutely schnookered. If you've got battleships able to expend primary ammunition, not primary ammunition at destroyers at range, it means they are very, very confident they're not going to run into anything else, and it means they're very confident they have dealt with all the major threats, and they are just doing this to keep you in trouble. Because the odds of actually hitting a ship at long range with a primary arm, a destroyer at long range with a primary arm of a battleship are not exactly the highest. And the fact is, if you do hit them, the damage you're going to do is probably not going to be the explosive damage, because honestly, some destroyers might not even set off the shells as they pass through. But the sheer kinetic energy of the shell passing through the destroyer's hull, that'll probably do enough damage for you. I mean, literally, as it enters and exits the other side, it's probably going to let in quite a lot of water. And even if it enters high enough into the structure that it's not exactly going to let in water, it's going to wrench such a great big hole through the structure as it passes through. That's going to do massive structural damage to the destroyer. Let's go. Do you want to end this battle? No, I'm happy with this battle carrying on. That should create some interesting things. Again, my major thing is I prefer the light cruisers not escape. Destroyers are not something I'm going to sweat as much. If I can get rid of... They're light cruisers, that takes longer for them to replace by a healthy margin. Again, these ships are just circling in the middle of my forces here. This is not a good position. They're not raising the white flag, though. This is the point. At this point, they could surrender. You know, in a nice way. When you're that much force around you, justifying a surrender is not that difficult. That's the one. And this one. This one actually to the speed of 34 knots could probably have got away. And that's the thing. Once you get up to about 30 knots, you usually have the speed to get away from most situations if you want to. There aren't many things which can catch you, and even those things which are fast on you are not necessarily going to be fast enough to catch you. Because you just throw in some angles at sea. You don't go in a straight line. You sort of you curve off and go off on a tangent, and well, you could be beyond the scope of their search because they're hunting for you, and how they're going to be hunting for you, how they're going to find you. You can get away. They're thinking. They're gone. Once they're gone, I'd say we're going to call it an end battle. It doesn't apply surrender. I was actually shocked the first time it did actually apply surrender. Why would you do that? Why? Why will you start applying smoke? Because you've actually illustrated your position to me. Not hidden your position, you've illustrated them to me. Ay, caramba. I know there are 4 destroyers pretty much remaining. We're not going to end battle. We are going to go and deal with whatever's up here. Okay. This doesn't require much of a hit to do its severe damage. See, for my spite design policy is to build fast, but controlled as battle space and choose the engagement. Yeah. That's not a bad philosophy. Speed is useful. I tend to go for balanced ships that I can pretty much do anything with, but also I can churn out in numbers. Who filled the Monty Python How Not to Be Seen test? Yeah. Basically, if you're at long enough range, actually putting out smoke reveals your position, doesn't obscure it. Ah, there you go. We have more smokers. Anyone who bets these are some of our remaining enemy destroyers? Oh yes, it is. Oh, with engine issues. And I'm going to presume there's a 4th destroyer somewhere out there, somewhere, either sinking or sneaking away. And yes, I have lost 4 destroyers in this battle. But honestly, in terms of losses, those are things I can easily make a fix and repair and redo. They're not things which the French can so easily replace. And they've lost a lot more. You might be capable of 38 knots if you're in full working order. You're not capable of 38 knots right now, and you cannot outrun shells. That's your bigger problem. You cannot outrun shells. Let's see if we can see any smoke on the horizon. Anything out there smoking? Nothing I can see at the moment. I think we will let them get one destroyer away just so they can go, we learn they lost. Will be interesting to see the stats from this battle. It surrendered. In terms of losses, Marne, Mohawk, Redoubt and Contest were lost fairly quickly. Yeah, they were sunk. Let's go to the battleships. Formidable torpedoes, 63 accuracy, main gun accuracy status 96%, 63% of ammo used. Actually, no, remaining. Fuel, engine, accuracy 6.5%, 4.6%. 2.7%. That's disturbing. Sabrina had the highest accuracy, I think. Actually, no. Birmingham had the highest accuracy of my ships. A light cruiser from France is their only surviving vessel, and that had any of their ships. None of their ships had better accuracy. In fact, they on average had considerably had worse accuracy, but yeah, that annoys me. That annoys me. Oh, hello, BT. We mentioned you too many times, didn't we? We mentioned you way too many times. You've appeared. You were summoned by the constant discussions, weren't you? Summoned by them, I do say. It's just too many discussions soon. Too many discussions. So let's see what survived. One of their light cruisers. Going to see how these battleships perform now. I don't like accuracy being this low. It's not good. It needs to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed fast. Put them all on screen. Okay. You're also armed with 15-inch guns. You have 12. I built a fair number of this class, didn't I? At 50-odd thousand tons, they're useful ships. "18 inches of armor, 50,000 tons, 32 knot top speed." Notice how they maneuver to my instructions. And how the accuracy is adding up. It helps. So, this class has been the backbone of quite a few battles recently, and they're doing quite well. The question is, just long-range fire engagement. Just standard. Keep them at range, keep pummeling them at range, and don't let anyone get close. I think, yeah, that's the end of the enemy. Enjoy Random Day Off, Han. And honestly, if there's pizza as well as coffee, please share, because I have no idea what I'm getting for lunch today. I've been told it's being cooked for me. Run. Fast. No. I should survive. I should survive. Actually, the only person who's managed to make me ill with food recently is myself, because I decided to try and be healthy, or rather, I was cooking for my mum. And one of the things my mum's been told is that since she's come out when she was in hospital pre-Christmas, she needs to try and eat more vegetables. So I cooked a whole load of vegetables for her, and I know I'm not good with a lot of vegetables, but and haven't been for my entire life. But what I decided I'd do is I would actually try to, I would have them alongside, because I'm cooking them for her, so, you know, show the thing. And they all tasted fine, they were all perfectly finely cooked, but I managed to give myself too many vegetables, and that did not have a good joyous impact on me. All of you, go to there. To there. Send you two off to there. Yeah, that should make the point. That's gonna be mine. I keep giving you instructions to go to here. Priority stat. Please go. America is allowing us to use the Panama Canal. There are no fleets blocking. Go. Go, go, go. Gadget ships. That really doesn't have much. It could be interesting. But let's go to research first and check on research. Okay, that's done. That's done. What's the special machinery? Just going to go. What are they researching? Electric batteries 2. Not sure about that one. Control station. What are we doing? Destroyer towers. Don't need to worry about those. Don't care about destroyer towers at the moment. Internals protection. Is that anything interesting to me? Crew salvage program 5. Plus 10% healing salvage. That's good. That could be useful. Mines. 2%. I do need mines. I need mines. I need the mines. What's this working on? Advanced Battlecruiser 4. Don't really give a flying hoot about that. Might replace cruisers with Battlecruisers at some point, but probably won't. And what's this working on? That's a crew salvage, so nothing I really need to worry about too much from a design point of view. Okay, ship design. Let's go. We've got to work out a new cruiser first, and then I've got to work out a refit on those battleships. Get them in and do a refit for them. Okay, let's go to new design. Let's take the fried kipper and work on that. Shall we? Yeah, there was a good, healthy portion of meat, but it was just for me. It was too much in the way of there was too much veg for my stomach to deal with, and that always sounds like a cop out, but no, I was one of the people given a lot, the story goes and the history goes that my mum, when I was a child, for the first and only time in her entire life, had a big event coming up, and when I say first time, only time in her entire life, she had a big event coming up, and she decided for once to buy a ready-made sort of meal in a jar for her baby. And that was me. And it made me quite sick at the time, to the extent that I didn't have a trip to hospital, but those were the days when the GP, in the case of our case, a lovely lady called Dr. Cunningham, who's actually died since, actually came round to our house and stayed at the house for about 15 hours and didn't leave our house to watch me. So that was how close. You know, the GP saw me, sent Mum home and finished off her patients, and then came to our house, and well, she sent a nurse home with my mum from the surgery, and then she came home and stayed at the home. And from that point onwards, I have always had an issue with eating too many vegetables. It's the easiest way to make myself ill. Which always sounds really bad to say, but it is. This is a really good design, actually. Do I need to build anything better than this? Is there anything I can do actually build that's better than this? It can't get radar yet. It's radio direction finder. It has stereo, sonar acoustics, RDF, all those, all the guns maximum. I can't build anything better than this, can I? Could give it 7-inch guns, but that really doesn't help. Secondaries, it's fine. Torpedo tubes. They're quadruples. Pitch, 27%. There is not much I can do to improve on all the things. Engine efficiency. That gives me an extra 500 tons to play with. What would I like to do? Can't get better than Crop 5. They're all good. Nothing better than that. Nothing better than that. Nothing better than that. Nothing better than that. Increased torpedo ops. Everything's good as it can be. But I have now got 500 tons to play with. So what should I do? That's the question, chat. What does one do? Fast torpedoes, tempting, but fast torpedoes reduce range, and I like the range of the regular torpedoes. Randall Hunt, back for pizza. That is cruel, but good. I'm glad you've got the pizza, but you didn't bring enough for everyone, so that's cruel. That is cruel. Let's try hydraulic steering. Yeah. Semi-balance is probably the best I can go with. Again, it's just there is no real way I can improve on this design, is there? I think we're just going to have to order some more fried kippers. That's the reality. I'm going to have to order some more fried kippers. If the only thing I can do to make you better is fiddle around with the engine settings, and even that's not something I really want to do because that's also survivability when it comes to certain other things, then nope. Refit the battleships is definitely what I'm going to do, but I'm also going to build some light cruisers. I need some light cruisers more around. Basically, refit those battleships definitely. The refit design is going to be fun. They weren't them. I think, were they lions? They weren't them. They were lions, weren't they? They were lions. So let's go see what's wrong with... What is wrong with my latest update on my lions? How have I managed to muck this up? Oh, is there anything I can do about it? Okay. We have turbo-electric engines. They're going to get some Gen 1 radar. Upgrade to Sonar 2. Right then. Let's see, anything on accuracy? Shell penetration, negative 2 powder. Negative 3% on negative 7% on range, plus 2% gun accuracy, 7.5% shell penetration. We'll try the 2 powder. Semi-auto. And half belt. Because we're going to be dealing with a lot more long range fire. Let's do that. I've still got 1,000 tons to play with, so I can do all sorts of interesting things if I want to. Take those down to 15, and those down to 6, and those down to 3, and then I take that up to 12, slowly to check that it goes. I think those are going to be better. Mark III's. And they are now, what, 48 guns? 48 cals? Hopefully that should be an improvement. Ah, yes. When someone justifies doing less quality because they don't want to spend an extra $14 a month on materials. Reddit-related rant. Oh, don't get me started on that. It's just, yeah. .33 knot fast battleships now. Those are going to be fairly useful vessels. Again, not that many in the way of 6-inch and 3-inch guns. So not enough firepower possibly on that front. But the Lions, I'm going to upgrade. I'm going to upgrade all the Lions. Now, where are they based? Let's go find them. And attach them and send them to somewhere to be modified and upgraded. Because frankly, I don't want that happening again. It's a strange thing. It's not your best ships which get the finest upgrade most quickly. It's usually your worst ships, the ships which you're having trouble with, which get an upgrade most quickly. And I do realise I need to get to Gen 2 radar as quickly as possible, because Gen 1 is not that great. But Gen 1 is better than nothing, and for the Lions, after what they just went through, yeah. Let's find the refit ships. There are none in service, so where are the Lions? Where are my Lions? They were they up here? Let's go to fleet. Let's go hunt the Lions. They should be quite easy to be found. They should be able to find quite easy. Let's go with, yeah, Titan class seems to be quite good. There's an original Argent Corps wandering around the world. Where is she? She's at sea in the Yellow Sea. Okay. That's problematic. I'll upgrade that soon. Lions. They're all in the Bay of Biscay. All 4 of them are in the Bay of Biscay. My latest battleship in the Italy campaign is 30 knots, 75,000 tons, 4 quad 1660s, 19.5-inch main belt, and 8 quad 5.5 50s per side. So not fast, but self-escorting. That's one way to describe it. Self-escorting, yes. Definitely self-escorting. John of Moon. On PVC pipe, for plumbing, you have to use this stuff called purple prime to prep the PVC for cementing. You don't for electric conduit, which is exactly similar. The biggest major or minor failure within a couple of the problem is, the biggest difference is that it's grey versus the plumbing's white. The problem is when you don't prime the joints, they always experience either a major or minor failure within a couple of years. So whilst there's not NEC required to use it, it's a really good idea. Yeah. They're in the Bay of Biscay. So you're all sitting in here somewhere. That's Agincourt class. Some torpedoes on it. So, hang on. Ah, formidable. Move. What ships do I... What ships, battleships do I have under construction amount? Because I know I'm building 5 ships. I need to build some more light cruisers. I do need to build some more light cruisers. Ah, Revenge class. Yes, I'm building them. Those with the 16.5-inch guns, 30-knot top speed, and displacing 107,000 tons. Yes, I remember them now. They will be good ships when they enter service in roughly 2 years' time. This is why you always have construction going on. Let's go to politics. Let's see how much tonnage I have spare at the moment. And therefore, finances, how many light cruisers can I build? I have roughly 200,000. I can do 220,000 tons, so I can build 20 of them. So I can build 20 light cruisers. Yeah, it should be useful. Because the fried kippers are 11,000 tons, so if I want to build those ships, I want to order 20... Well, I'll order 21 of you, because that makes... I can probably order 24, actually. Okay, I'm just going to do what I normally do to really wind up my opponents in this game. I just go, right then, I'd like some light cruisers. Build 24. If I go to finances, I don't think I'm over. I don't think I should be over. I'm close. That was jammy. That was entirely jammy. I was going with 20 and I thought, I have enough for 44,000 and I did. Just. But I really don't want to end up repairing a lot of ships soon. So, because I got 29 building, 9 repairing, and 0 in refit. Very contented population, admired naval prestige-wise. Province is 162. In terms of world politics, what does that mean? That means I have more provinces than everyone else combined. I have a smaller GDP than America, but not by much. Their active fleet is 543 ships. They have, at the moment, more light cruisers and more cruisers than I have by a long way, but I have many more battleships than they have. I have almost, I'd say 3 to 2 advantage in destroyers, if not more than that. And in terms of torpedo boats and submarines, I swamp them. Oh, good lord. And France, I'm just bashing around at the moment. That's why when someone says, Italy's getting annoyed with you, I go, they have 5 active ships. They have 3 cruisers and 2 submarines. I don't care if Italy feels annoyed with me. I can smash Italy without even thinking. Italy are smaller than my allies. I've got allies who are bigger than them. I agree, Random Dale fan. It's you look after anything that's a mains conduit. Thank you, Paul, for the Ko-fi donation. Thank you. That will go straight to the Iron Brew Fund. I might have bought 5 2-litre bottles today. Oh, I am going to move the line the battleships to port to refit, but I want to check what their effect of their removal from the operations has on the likely success of my invasion of Western France before I do that. Because whilst they're annoying, they're not at the point at which I'm annoyed so much that I'm going to get rid of them or out of the campaign if I don't have to. And that's what it is. If they're having a detrimental effect on the campaign in Western France, then I'll keep them with the forces in Western France, invading Western France. If their absence doesn't have an effect, I will take them back and refit them. Enjoy the music stuff, Paul. Enjoy the music stuff. You have more submarines than they have ships total. Well, you know, I've noticed that submarines in this game can make it very, very annoying for other people to try and attack your ports. I'm not saying I have a cunning flat plan, but submarines are cheap and quite easy to run, and they'll defend my ports, and that means that you can't lay siege to my ports. And that means I can use all my fleet to go off and beat you up. Let's see what happens. No damage to my fleet. 2 of their light cruisers sunk. Yeah, just basically blasted past, didn't they? That's what we do. Okay. So, this is a classic scenario of, if you are cornered, how are you cornered in this area of the ocean? Run away! Let's go fight this battle. Hello, Queen Elizabeth. Let's do this battle. Let's just do it. Oh, okay, well, any wires you run through buried conduits are supposed to be damp rated anyway. Well, yeah, that would make sense, because let's be honest, you want to try and keep water out of your electrical conduits. You really want to try and keep water out of them. Yeah, I enjoyed the film one. I have to say I have enjoyed some of the comments that come after, but there are some people out there who I would. How do I describe it? They so want Tillman to be a good guy because they like they like the idea of the ships he's building, and you sit there and go, he wasn't. He just was not. No, Exmouth, you stay back. You seriously stay back. You go into that. You are going to screen this group. You are going to follow them. They are going to do this. You are going to screen them. And We'll take you two off there. I need to get Exmouth to go and be repaired, don't I? I think Exmouth does need some repair, yes. The fact that she's still afloat is very good, but she needs some repair. The trouble is with my Canada class, they're just too reliable, and I forget sometimes I need to do some serious work with them. The thing is, though, the level of force which I'm facing, my fast force, which I've designated as basically these light cruisers and these battleships, should be able to take them out without too much effort. And the trouble is, I can't send the battleships home until I've taken the island I'm currently trying to invade. Steve, I was very surprised about filming the J. Edgar Hoover, the US Senate, digging up dirt on everyone. Yep, he was a master of it. He really was. He knew everything about everyone. And that's how he ran the Senate. This is the trouble. This is the thing. He didn't sort of... Let's put it this way. If you were his friends, he knew about you. If you were his opponents, he knew about you. And he was not averse to making deals along lines of, well, we have this which will damage your election categories. I'm prepared to give you this which you want for in terms of there being a naval treaty, but in turn I want you to agree to this because I want to build these ships. They'll do it. You're just doing a sound, so no pedals involved. Yeah, Exmouth, you have to go off and get some repairs somewhere. Oh, I have to move Exmouth to get repaired. Exmouth, you're gonna have to go get repaired somewhere. Rapidly. Is there a yard around you which is big enough that can take you? Now imagine those ships if they'd had 12, 15-inch guns. For starters, they'd have been 28-knot ships, because to accommodate 12 and still maintain the speed, they'd have had to be, that they were aiming to try and get the speed, they'd have had to be A, longer, and B, wider, so they'd have more space for the boilers, so they could have got 28 knots on that increased size. But those ships would have been absolutely colossally impossible for these things to fight. Not at the moment. That's still going to head. Where's... Okay, one of you's disappeared off somewhere to get repaired. Where do you go to? Because I haven't lost a battleship. Fleet. Where's that Lion class disappeared to? Please tell me. Barcelona? Okay, here's the thing. If you're a damaged ship and you've gone off to be repaired, how have you got the whole way from here to Barcelona rather than going to Portsmouth? I know what. There's an actual battleship sitting in Barcelona. Okay. Move. You both go to Plymouth. I have plenty of tonnage space for you. Oh, caramba, this game, sometimes it really does grind your gears, to quote Homer Simpson. It really does grind your gears. That's gonna succeed. That's... Why is that not... Why would that... Oh, finally! You're through and on your way. That's useful. Once you get here, I'm sending the other battleship back. Oh, no invasion. All the other stuff is convoys. How's the research doing? Special machinery, control station. Special machinery's that. Internals protection. Internals protection. What's the internals protection? That's crew survival. Turret mechanisms. Oh, yeah. We want that. Triple turrets getting their maximum efficiency. Yes. Maneuver warfare. What are we researching in this one? And this thing. Naval blockade tactics 3. I don't need to accelerate that. Acoustics. What's coming through on that one? We're not sure yet. Well, I'm presuming sonar station number 3, but we'll leave that to one side for a second. Rangefinders. Do we know what we're researching? Not yet. But I'm hoping for radar, so I'm going to actually stick that on that. And I wouldn't mind better quality modern armor instead of crop armor. Because everyone wants to take them off Barcelona. Potentially, but they have to actually go through... No, it just doesn't... Oh. I'm now got a battleship sitting on its own in the Mediterranean doing nothing. I'm going to have to try and figure out a way to get it home. Plymouth would have made sense. I'd have settled for Cardiff. I'd have settled for northern Spain. Barcelona, no. When you're fighting in the Bay of Biscay, going, yes, we will go to Barcelona for repairs. That's going. We're going to go around Gibraltar. We're going around Cape Trafalgar. We're going to do all that. Yeah. Spanish holiday, my... No, no, stern look received. I will endeavour to get a wood and masonry chisel when starting at my new employer. No. Oh, I do love it when they show. There is all discussion going over the right kind of chisels, and this is the one thing that annoyed me. My dad used to have a full set of chisels, and I have no idea where they ended up. I have a feeling that potentially, let's put it this way: there was some interesting relationships going on around that time, and I reckon that potentially my father's honestly not his girlfriend. Children, when I say children, though they're older than me, might have acquired them, but that's honestly a possibility. There's also the fact he could have some friends could have borrowed them. He just didn't get them back because he was always loaning his tools out to people. So it's just a thing. But you know, that was the one thing I was sort of looking through his tool collection for when he died, and looking at and going, where are they? Because I don't like these. Because of course he taught me all the woodwork, and so he had all the woodworking chisels, but he had all the other chisels, and they're gone. So I'm slowly rebuilding the collection as and when I have the money. Although I don't have anyone to pass them on to, but you know. It's very kind of you, Paul, but at the moment the answer is definitely no, because anything I acquire at the precise time has to be moved down to Cornwall. Okay? in a not too long a future. We'll see what happens when I get down to Cornwall. I might well need them down there. But that's a little while away. Let's go run this battle. We've got HMS Canada again. We will go do this battle. And then once we've done this battle, I will go off and take my fluffs for their wanders, because I'm being told that it is time for them to go for a wander. That's an interesting photo of Port Arthur. Honestly, Port Arthur was the absolute worst place for them to set up their fleet. But they did. So, oh, Canada. Right then, you are detaching, and you are going off on your own. Auto. You are on auto. And avoid. And avoid. And... I could actually tag you two in with Canada. Into a formation. But... I think... it's better to put you on screening duty. And you also on screening duty. But it's so tempting. It is so tempting to take one of these. I think I will actually, to give Canada just that bit of survivability more. Canada with Furious as backup. We are off. We are off hunting. We're off hunting. I agree, Paul. You do need... Chisels are one of those things you can always find a reason to have more of. And they are very useful if you want to do the work. But it's a case of... I think with this property we're moving into, woodwork will be... I will be doing more framing than I will be necessarily doing fine woodwork, if that makes sense. Until we're moved in, properly in. Once we're moved in, then I'm probably going to rebuild the deck. That's certainly on my head and my lines of things. And I'm considering doing it entirely myself, and so I can do some nice things, put some nice, how do I put that, things around it to give it some sort of properly, nicely rounded posts and all those things nicely done on tech with some nice fine detail on them. Maybe put in some... I was considering doing something with some sort of... how to put it, Celtic-inspired chivalric motifs on them, which will probably get someone claiming that it's a pagan side of festival, etc. But no, it's just stuff which I think would look cool. But you know, so I'm considering working through that sort of idea. They're all trying to run away, aren't they? Unless you can't afford. Yes, and that's the thing. That's the other thing I have to say. As I said earlier, basically, it's one of those things you work at, you build up a collection of. You definitely do. I don't know if anyone else does this with tools, but I do this with tools. I find some of the best places to go are those little markets. When you find little collections of local markets, etc., stalls, etc., especially in villages and smaller towns, you can usually find a tool store place, which is literally passing on tools which people, how do I put this, usually have deceased and have left, and no one sort of wants them, so they're passing on those, and yeah. Canada, go off now. Now you're going to go minor speed. You're on full AI. Avoid the enemy. And I'm going to stick you on follow on. Actually, I'm going to not do that. I'm going to do retreat. The whole point of having you was you were supposed to give me slightly more or slightly more instructions for what was going on. You go down to very, very slow and retreat. Let's see if we can't make you limp home after this. I think you will be heading home for refit if you survive. And I'm hoping you survive. You got clobbered by torpedoes, didn't you? Run. Yeah, estate sales. They do provide some of the best tools. Yeah. And again, I'm using Furious this time. It's amazing how I don't know why I gave Furious added Furious in, but I did. Furious this time, and she's providing the targeting data. Oh yes, eBay is always fun when people don't know what they actually have. Ooh, that's a lot of fire coming down. Once this war's over, I need to get all my battleships back in port and upgrade them all, don't I? Every single one of my battleships needs to be upgraded. They all need to have radar, they all need to have everything. Darren Delphine, my table saw was rebuilt repeatedly by a 60-plus-year-old USN Sparky, and the bench vise came from the estate itself of a guy 101 years old. Yep. Oh, that reminds me. Furious, did you also get a torpedo? Oh, for goodness sake. What is it about their blooming torpedoes? Now, as you can see, there are 6 battleships at range bombing away. Hey, caramba. You're getting bracketed by battleships. Yeah, you're gone. So, my grandpa was really miffed when we threw out his tools. Yes, he will be. You'll be extremely missed. Yeah, I think I'm going to need to, at some point, while I'm doing the work up here, after we've moved and before it sells, and the work done, I'm going to need one of those, honestly, I'm going to need oh, I'm now forgetting, not the down cutting circular saw, but a bench saw I'm going to need to set up. That's another expense I'm going to have. Because my bench saw, I have a very old one, and to say it's no longer safe to use if you're going to be using it repeatedly and maybe getting tired is to be very, very polite about it. Table saw, yeah. Because I'm going to need to make a lot of very straight cuts, and they're going to be quite long. And the trouble is with having the saw, which you pull down, the circular saw, or the arm, sort of the radial arm saw, is that again, it's things like floorboards I'm going to need to be cutting up, and I want them to be very precise, straight edges. And radial arm saws are good for making different cuts, but I find with floorboards they're not as good. I think it's a table saw. It's on a. It's mounted into a table, and I just moved the saw along. Yeah, you know. They are very good for losing fingers, and the thing is, I don't want to lose fingers. I rather like my fingers, and I'm only going to have assistants here for every other day at best. So, yeah, that's something I have to deal with. No, it's yeah. It's literally a table saw. I'm thinking of the exact thing, which I sort of can buy in B&Q, and I've let's put it this way, the one I've currently got I inherited from my grandfather, and I love him dearly, but yeah, it was old, even when he had it. Okay. Let's pause this for a second, okay? So you go off and do that. And you are going to screen that. You are going to follow you. You are going to be doing that. And you are going to be doing that. And screen them. And we're doing that. And I think the enemy only has one ship, so yeah. That's what we try and do. That's what we try to do. Anyway. Could you not go around in circles, just head towards them? That way, please. Can the clock... Oh, goodness gracious. Is it the game controls? Is it the game controls? What are you two doing? Fleets do not mill around in the middle of the ocean. Ouch! Yeah, you do want to have chocks and protections. And as said, table saws... The modern ones have systems which mean that if they sense human flesh anywhere nearby, or flesh anywhere nearby, they don't react well. They stop. So, yes. Yeah. My grandfather's saw was perfectly fine, and let me put it this way. So I've used it, but it's not something I want to use for big projects again, because the last time I used it for a big project, it got interesting, and it was basically a case of, I will use this first thing after I've woken up in the morning and do all my sawing then. I will not use it the rest of the day once I start getting tired. To the point at which I was handing the plug over to someone else to make sure I wasn't tempted to use it. Because you all know how it is. You think, if I do use that, it'll be just so quick, or I can do that just now, just quickly. And that's always the point at which you hurt yourself. And I wasn't under a time caution, all sorts of things. So I was okay to do it that way and manage myself that way. And, you know, it's sort of a case of, I have faith in myself in not breaking my own rules of doing that sort of thing. But just in case I was tempted, it was just easier to just, after I finish using morning, okay, here's the plug and cable. They don't, it's old enough that they don't fit on anything else, and it won't take anything else. Here you go. I'll see that tomorrow, please. It's a form of self-management. It's kind of like my policy of alcohol, you know. As said, I don't think I'd be like my father if I drank, but running the risk of it, of becoming violent like he did, means that I don't drink. The Battle of Lausanne was an absolutely nasty little battle. Is it me or has this campaign recently added even more about details of Russian losses at sea into it? Even more about Russian losses at sea. Now, where's Canada gone off to? Mineral liner in there. Where is Canada? Canada should have. If Canada hasn't gone off to hasn't gone off to somewhere, then frankly that's worrying to me. Canada class. Canada's still in the Bay of Biscay. Now that doesn't make sense at all. That doesn't make an absolute lick of sense at all. And I still use my father's table saw occasionally, and that thing is a death trap. I actually tore off the only anti-kickback feature because it was so cheap and bad designed that it was endangering my hands trying to get the balls to feed right. That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. It's the joys of these things. You have to be quite on your metal when it comes to them. Don't need that to be a focus anymore, because they've got the turret mechanism in service. What's the explosive one coming through? Torpedo contact exploder. Tempting, but not going to make that a special focus, because that's going to affect... Because the trouble is, when you make something a special focus, it slows down all the other stuff as well. And I want rangefinders and armor quality to develop up, because I want to save them weight. And currently, I am several 100,000 tons over that. But in terms of fleet... And yeah. Pennywise, pound foolish. 18 months till they're done. Oh, great. Oh, fun times. Sorry, news update just flashed through. I'm going to have a fun time on brew ships tonight. I honestly should probably just give up with the idea of having some books of brew ships this evening, because there are going to be so many questions about so many things going on in the world, I doubt I'm going to get to them. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try. I will try. I will honestly attempt, because I've got some cool books to go through. Let's see. This is a book none of you will have seen before on this channel. A Guide to Motorboat Design and Construction. Rather fits with some of the wood construction we've been talking about. It's quite cool. It really is an interesting one for motor-to-boat construction. And it's a lovely little book. Lovely little book. Oh, tell news? Oh. Well, it turns out Britain replacing four flight decks with two is once again showing issues in that when they have even a minor hiccup, so we don't send them out for operations, people get, there are problems. It got sunk. Cute. Well, that's not going to be a fun fight for this computer. Not going to be a fun fight for the French. I need more tonnage in there. Oh good, Canada's made it back. Phew. Canada repair. Let's actually, while Canada's in there, we're going to work on a Canada upgrade. We're going to upgrade Canada. Oh, the USA won't leave NATO if Canada becomes... let's put it this way. Okay, so... Please note, I'm going to preface this with what I'm saying is, under the current rules, there have been acts that have gone through the US Congress and Senate, which full Congress, and have been fully passed through, that mean that to leave NATO requires a 2/3 majority in Congress and I think the House. Okay? So, while still in theory, it is possible that if all planets align, Trump could try and leave NATO. It would be a massive fight, because the thing is, the power of treaties and treaty membership is explicitly defined in the Constitution as being within the power of Congress. It's one of their enumerated powers. So, to make treaties, etc. So whilst the president has a lot of foreign policy power, actually withdrawing from specific treaties, alliances, etc. is actually limited, okay? He can withdraw with the support of Congress. And whilst he can probably get enough support of Congress to do certain things, there are certain things he won't get enough support from Congress to do. They'll find a way to obfuscate him. Now, I'm not saying this is 100% because, this is the real world we're dealing with, and sometimes these things do happen. But I find that highly unlikely. I find it highly unlikely he manages to get away with that sort of scenario. Well, that would explain why they had so much issues with the torpedoes. Let's see if we can't get this all to work. So let's see what we can do. I want to leave that roughly there. And I'm at... and increased. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Can we get this? So I need to find 4,000 tons in this ship's weight. I'm going to take that down to 30. Three. Reinforced bulkheads. 2. Anti-flood. Leave that at 3. I've got 2,000 tons I've got to find. Oh, I just find it amazing that out of all the options in America, and I do say all the options, those are the two options you have, Biden versus Trump. You know, there is a sort of, there is a scenario here going on where I'm going, honestly, how did this happen? How did this happen? How did you get to this as your issues? It's, you know, it's really quite sort of worrying in some regards. How did this scenario happen? How did you get to this point that these are your options? Because I have so many friends who are American, and I know so many Americans on both sides of the political spectrum who are really good and really capable, and I just look and go, I have never been in favour in my life of the idea of having a cut-off age. But it's starting to seem tempting to me. It's starting to seem tempting. It really is. And that would take, as you pointed out, correctly pointed out, that would take a constitutional amendment to add such a thing in. And no one's going to do that. Let's see, secondaries, French. And its pitch is still very high, and I'm not sure why the pitch is so high. I'm not sure why the pitch is so high, but let's see if we can't fix the pitch. Can we fix the pitch? Port offset. What is the port offset? Why is the port side heavier than the starboard side? Ah, yes. Alright, engine efficiency, we're at okay. What can we do? That's at its maximum. So those need to be at least half an inch to be any use. That will take down to 3 inches. And what can we do? What can we do to fix it? Okay, so that helps things a little bit, but not much. What are we going to do about pitch? Roll is fine. Pitch is halfway to offset 2%. Okay, so that's balanced. Pitch is still massive. That's going to affect accuracy. Hmm. Yeah, I agree. You run it. You end up eliminating good candidates, but I'm still not sure how America's got to the level where you're literally looking at a runoff between octogenarians, and it's a case of, and it's those two octogenarians, neither one of which inspires me with their health and their vigor, if that makes sense. Neither one of. I'm sitting there looking at going, how has, because if those are the positions America supports, there are better, more articulate, younger leaders than those ones. It's just that somehow in America it's got to such a difficult ability to get elected without name recognition that it's almost smothering out any other options. Yeah, nice way, Jonathan. We've all talked about them. What's the flight deck ship problem of the RN? Hmm. There's a gorgeous looking ship, but that won't work. Not for what I need to do. So let's go back and do this refit again. Remember, it's party politics from my chat. That generation is the best connected and has the deepest piles of dirt on others to secure votes nominations. As the boomers die off, it'll be millennials in the same seat as X's. Are big enough to achieve the same level of saturation. Yeah, I do. It's 5 o'clock. I have to go. Yeah, I think that's the problem. I'd say also there's also been a massive shift in all sides of the political spectrum to ideology and away from pragmatic leadership. And that was always the thing of the people who ran for the senior officers were always from the pragmatic wing of parties, and the ideologues pushed the agenda, but the pragmatics won. And now there almost seems to be a test of ideological purity before anything else, and that's really worrying to me because ideology doesn't. Ideology is a good basis for ideas. It's not a good basis for government. I'm gonna fix this before I go. I'm going to. The one thing I'm going to work out is if I can just add radar. If that works, because I'm happy if I can just add radar. Really, that's my base point. I need radar on these ships. Because the Canadas are that important, they do need radar. Those are badly placed, that's fine. And they need radar. Ships overweight. also I need to find a way to drop weight. Anything else I need to do? That is standard. I can up these to maximum length. These to maximum length. These to maximum length. And can I also up this? I can. Okay. And I'll make that. Shoe powder. That improves things. That gives me about 1,000 tons. That won't get me back to many, will it? No. Many. But if I take the range down to that, oh, that gives me tonnage, and that still gives me 13,000 kilometers of range, which is fine. Sonar on. Oh, that's through, and I've now got 100 tons left. Anything I want. Full weight offset is down that. Up that. Up that a bit more. Up that a bit, and that's balanced. And do I need induced or natural? Could I go with natural boilers for this? I could go with natural boilers. Okay, well that gives me 300 tons more. At which point, that's got sonar up to 2. That's got that up to that. So that's fairly balanced. And I think I want to try and upgrade. Well, that takes me 400 tons over. I can't do that. But what I can do is maybe use this weight to do something down below. Can I get this to 2 inches? That'll do. That'll do. And that's done, and now I'm off to get some food because I'm hungry. Fine. Congrats to your summoner. The Netherlands. Yeah, I have problems with, as I've said before, in my perfect system, you would have one house elected by first past the post, and then the second house would be proportional to the votes cast in first past the post, with the people who sat in the house of the second house being the people who came the highest losers from from running the first election, to basically eliminate parties being able to select who sits where. So it would really make your votes count, because your votes would count in terms of into determining who's the member of the larger house, which is made up of the first past the post. And let's say if you had 600 seats elected that way, you then have 400 seats elected by for the remainder 400 seats in a sort of second house, which is, let's call it an assembly. So you'd have Commons and Assembly in the UK system, or Senate, or whatever you want to call it. And those 400, the proportion of votes cast would be then assigned to those seats. So you'd have to get 0.25%. For every 0.25%, you get a seat in the 400 seat house. And those people sitting in those seats would be the people who had got the highest votes but hadn't won a seat of the thing. So basically, if you voted in your area and you voted for someone who you know won't win, but if they've got, let's say, 20,000 votes in a seat, and it's a 70,000 seat constituency, and the person who wins has got 40,000 votes, so they're always going to win. But someone's got 20,000 votes. Well, they could well be one of the people who gets elected to be a member of the second assembly. So you would have that as your chance, and it'd be good. It'd make things work. But that's my system in my mind. Right, let's exit constructor and let's refit some of that, and then we'll go. I thought it was... Yeah. We have lots of weird parties in the UK. We have lots of weird parties, but they don't actually get anywhere, which is sometimes a good for... I still, I will openly admit that I have voted... when I was voting in European elections in the UK, I voted all one party, barring one, which I ticked for Arve, the party which wants to bring back the Roman Empire. Mainly because I'd met their candidate and they were quite cool, and secondly because I was specifically not voting for one of the candidates of the major party I was voting for, because I met them and I thought they were an absolute There is a ship eligible for refit, because there's one sitting in Canada, which is at number 3. Anyway, we'll sort that out next time. Thank you very much everyone for watching, and I am now going to toddle off, so Thank you, Jonathan Moon. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Runon. Thank you, everyone who's been here chatting away. Atrocious Duxbaron, thank you. Artorias, yeah. He might want them to pay. I'm not getting too much into it. Trump may want them to pay their share, but he doesn't use a language like that. And frankly, with the discussions he's had, there's going to be a lot of powers, a lot of nations in the Baltic, etc., who are going to be severely worried. There again, they're not any much more enamored with, let's be honest, Biden, because Biden is, he could forget who you are. Neither's a good choice. They've really given America a bit of a dilemma for vote. Not that many of the Western countries are any better, let's be honest. Oh, there are many. I do like the none of the above. I do like the none of the above options so that they have to go and select different candidates. I think they have that in Australia, don't they? Anyway, take care and thank you for watching.